My name is Sylvia Laudien-Meo, and I'm here as an art historian. My background is art history. I work a lot with people. I work in art museums like the Guggenheim Museum and the Museum of Modern Art, the Jewish Museum also in New York City. But I also work a lot on the street. So I work on as a tour guide in the cities, in the city like New York City, for instance, but then I also do gallery tours. So I look at art in many different ways. I love public art, exhibitions and art galleries. So I work with people discussing art, showing art, whether it's in the museums, on the streets, or in brand new contemporary art galleries. Now, since the pandemic, I work a lot online. So I give online talks on art for companies like the Municipal Art Society, that's also in New York, the New York Adventure Club, but then also with many libraries, for instance, or organizations that like to have online programs and that keep the online programs because many people can't, get out of the house so much, or they're like not having to travel, so they like their community online. I love public art because it's not in a gallery, it's not on a pedestal, in a gallery, but it's outside in the city. A lot of times it has a lot to say about what the city is about. So you have memorials, for instance. It's interesting to understand, why do you honor a specific person, or why do you want to remember a certain event? So it's art, and it's a beautiful creation as an artwork, but it also has a lot to do with the history of a place. It has a lot to do with the identity of a place, like who do you choose, what do you choose to remember and to honor? And so it's much more complex and it's much more real. Yeah. My parents took me on travel since we were little. We grew up in Germany, and so we traveled throughout Europe and looked at all the amazing places and museum collections. And so I always look at art to learn about history. I don't know, that was always my perspective. Yeah, it helped me understand the world. I think photography is really amazing, especially in the United States. Like since the mid-19th century, photography was used for so many different ways. It was used, to help explore the world. Like if you look at landscape, right here, landscape photography, how did the first landscape photographers were really the ones that went on expeditions out west, right? Or the landscape photography was showing, where do you build the railroad so that you can get from east to west? And so the history is so much part of it, of the tradition of landscape photography, for instance. I do like how fine art and photography becomes closer and closer, right? That so many fine artists are using photography as a part of their creation. So many photographers who really learn from fine artists also. And I like how these two worlds, meet more and more, really. Yeah. It's my second time to visit Sharjah. Everything to me is interesting. I love the peacefulness of it, and I like the people. I love how the focus on culture, and this is the most amazing fair that you could ever imagine. Like, coming from New York where everything is like a superlative, I don't think I've seen any exhibition more impressive than this, really. Yeah. Curious would be one. I don't know. I've never thought about it. Humble, I hope, would be one, and loving, I hope, would be another one. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to give a short answer. I think what comes out of the experience when you're here, and what everybody really enjoys, I see, is this collaboration. Like, I think people get so inspired by the community, so an event like this fair here in Sharjah is such a gift, bringing all these young talents and older talents, I don't know, everybody together. But being able to connect and talk with each other and inspire each other and, exchange ideas and always be curious and go out and, learn more about the world and bounce ideas off. I think that's really cool. We just moved to Florida, and I didn't know much about Florida. So now I'm very curious and excited to learn more about that place and to see how, most people think, oh, Florida is a little bit boring, it's like a retirement place, and it has so much interesting history and really interesting young art scenes also. So we're in St. Petersburg, and that's a very young and really thriving city, and I'm curious to explore and grow some roots there with the art community.